I remember when I was 39, I was feeling so good. I still hadn't met the right person, and that was okay, because you know what? I was feeling good, complete, and whole within myself. And that's when I knew that it was the right time for me to have kids of my own.
Isn't it more hopeful and less of a lonely journey when you hear about other people's personal stories? And so today I thought, well, Dr. Tanya and I thought it would be really awesome to share with you a personal story. And we have here with us Laura Tatner. Lauren is here to tell her story. So let's just dive right in, because I know that it will, certainly lighten the hearts of all those people out there.
Okay, thank you for having me. So I always knew that I wanted to have kids and meet the right person, but I also knew that I wanted everything to unfold at the right time and for the right reasons. And so in my 20s, I was focused on my education and my career. I was also dating. I didn't meet the right person, and that was okay, because that actually led to what I call my spiritual awakening. And I realized, you know what? Life is supposed to be fun. And
That's
I
awesome.
decided to... Yes,
spiritual awakening. That's awesome. Okay, sorry, keep on going.
Yes,
spiritual awakening.
So we could talk about that another time. But basically, I realized, you know what, life is supposed to be fun, and I was going to implement that into my life. And to do that, what I had to do was start tuning out the noise and the pressures that a lot of us feel indirectly or directly from society, and to start making decisions and choices that felt right and good and fun for me. And so that's what I was doing in my 30s. I focused on self-care and self-love, and I was feeling amazing. I remember when I was 39, I was feeling so good. I still hadn't met the right person, and that was okay, because you know what? I was feeling good, complete, and whole within myself. And that's when I knew that it was the right time for me to have kids of my own, to share the love and the fun and my excitement and joy of life with my own children. And so I decided to pursue the route of being a solo mom by choice. And to pursue that, I went to a fertility clinic so I can start working with a reproductive endocrinologist, a medical specialist. And I chose a sperm donor. And once the RE, the reproductive endocrinologist, reviewed my labs and my file, he suggested that I can start with an IUI procedure. And so I opted to start with the IUI. 2 weeks after the procedure, I got the phone call from the clinic, from the nurse, that unfortunately it did not work. I did not become pregnant on that first IUI, and of course that was very upsetting. And I allowed myself to process the upset, the related emotions. And then as soon as I could, what I did was I tried to focus on thoughts that gave me a bit of relief, that gave me a bit more hope. And Mary, like you said, hearing inspirational stories is so powerful and so important for many of us. And it was for me. So I reached out to this solo mom community, because there are so many others who are pursuing this journey on their own as a solo parent by choice.
Yes.
And I wanted to hear inspirational stories, and that kept me moving forward and filled me with hope again. And so I decided to proceed with IVF, another type of procedure. Mm-hmm. So I had the egg retrieval, and then I went ahead with an embryo transfer. And 2 weeks after the embryo transfer, I got the call, and they let me know that it worked. I became pregnant. But at the 10-week ultrasound, unfortunately, I learned that there was no more heartbeat, and there are no words to describe that. But I will say that it was devastating, and I allowed myself to process those related emotions and grieve and go through that process. I was trying to be as gentle with myself as possible. But that's practice for sure. But as soon as I could, I tried to focus on thoughts that would give me a bit of relief, thoughts that would allow me to feel just a little bit better. And
so tell me what that was for you. Just again, like a lot of people that will listen or watch this will have been through, a lot of loss, right? Whether it is loss, the monthly roller coaster ride of trying to conceive, and, that hopeful, oh my gosh, this might be it. And then, you take your pregnancy test and you're not. And that's just, that's a grief in of itself, a loss, and what I call a loss of a wanted life, a wanted being that you already love ahead of time, right? Mm-hmm. And then there you are, you take it further and you do IVF, which costs more. There's more, emotional investment, physical investment, because you're like pumping yourself with hormones. And then I find that the anticipatory stress is even that much greater, because it's like, there's a certain level of higher expectation. And especially when you actually got pregnant, mm-hmm. and then it's like, shoo, okay, this is happening. And then you get the rug pulled right from underneath you again, right? Because then it's like, oh my gosh, it's not working.
Right. So yeah, it's hard to describe it in words but yeah, completely devastating. And what I did was, like I mentioned, I allowed myself to acknowledge the different related emotions that comes with, or that invokes or creates. And I was heartbroken, devastated, yes. And I allowed myself to go through the grieving process. And then
what practical things did you do? So again, just what's tangible. Yeah.
Yes. So what I did was I started to test out different thoughts or things that I would tell myself, the stories or the things that I would tell myself internally. I told myself, you know what, perhaps it wasn't the right time. Perhaps it wasn't the right embryo. Maybe this, I call them, I would call before my, at this time in the process, I would call them my spirit baby. I believe that yes. There was a soul or a spirit baby that wanted to come through me yes. and join me here, the physical realm, to have fun. I'm very in touch with my spiritual side. I know people have different beliefs, but this felt good for me to believe that. And I told myself maybe it wasn't the right time for my spirit baby to come. And I just would test out different thoughts or ideas and see if it felt good for me. And if it did, I would sit with that. And what I also did that was tangible was I reached out again to my solo mom community. And I wanted to hear other people's more inspirational stories and unique journeys. Everyone has their own special, unique journey. Mm-hmm. And hearing them would give me hope. And I would also check in with myself to see, is there anything from their story that resonates with me or maybe would feel right for me. So for instance, in this case, when I spoke to a different solo moms by choice, I heard that a lot of people were choosing to get a second medical opinion from another RE, and that was helpful for them. And I thought, you know what, that feels good for me. That is just giving me new, fresh hope, maybe a new set of eyes from another reproductive endocrinologist, another clinic would help me, give me more information. And so because that felt good for me, and a key thing for me along this journey was I kept checking in within myself to see what felt right for me, because everyone's different. Everyone's journey is so different. And so I just wanted to keep making sure that how I was moving forward was because it felt right within myself.
And if I may add in, yes, there are things that you were doing for yourself, but, you actually reached out and outside of your own, to create your own community of health and well-being, right? So that included the single moms by choice, and then if I might add in, you did other like therapeutic things, right? So yes, like acupuncture. Yes. So, maybe you can list the things that you also did there.
Yes, exactly. I was focusing on my own self-care and my own well-being. So yes, like you mentioned, Mary, I was doing acupuncture treatments. I just have to, you didn't tell me to say this, but I have to say your clinic is amazing. And that's where I chose to. I was referred by another single mom by choice, or other people to your clinic, and so happy that I did. So I was I was going for acupuncture treatments, seeing naturopath. Dr. Tanya is amazing. I can attest to that. And so naturopath, acupuncture, special fertility, prenatal massage, which was incredible as well. So different things like that for my own self-care. And I chose to see this journey actually as boot camp, or as a real focus on taking care of myself, because I realized that my role, my job or my role in all this was to make sure that I was taking care of myself, feeling good, staying relaxed. So yes, I was doing all different things that would allow me to feel good and relaxed. So
Yes.
acupuncture, massage, naturopath, knowing that I was taking care of my body, I was eating clean, cooking more, experimenting, having fun with cooking, and meditating. I'm a Reiki master, so I was doing Reiki on myself and doing my own guided visualizations, different things that allowed me to stay grounded, stay calm, and feeling good. And then I kept up with my comedy as well.
Which is amazing. And I might add in that, for those of you listening, it's not like she didn't have a job. It's like you do all this and you actually worked for a living as well. So yes. It's not like in a vacuum, right? Doing all these things that are good for you.
Right. No. I'm a practicing attorney, and I still was working. Yes. And then when I, weekends, evenings, when I could, I would schedule this in, and only when it felt right for me. If it felt like I was having a day or a week that was too busy and it felt more, let's say, more stressful to run out to an appointment, I would listen to how my body felt too. I would go for these appointments if it felt good for me. If it felt like too much, I would listen to how I felt with that, and maybe scale back a bit for that day or week.
So let's flash forward, because, and by the way, for those listening, it's like, don't tune out because, Lauren here was a single woman, or is a single woman by choice, creating her family, but it's really for any woman, right? I mean, what you talk, it's a common theme. You feel alone, there's devastation, there's a lot of heartache, and it's like, what can we do to help ourselves? And so this is part of the conversation. So I want to, let's add that piece of hope. So what happened? When did it finally work? How old were you? What happened?
So what happened was I went for the second opinion from another, I went to go see another recommended reproductive endocrinologist, medical specialist at another clinic. And he reviewed my file and my labs and suggested that he said, why not try another IUI, which was the first procedure that I tried when I first started. And so I decided, you know what, that felt right for me. Let me do that. I'd heard a lot of success stories, and I felt good. I did that. I did the IUI, and I want to go back to something after I mention what I did next, just to what helped me. But I did the IUI 2 weeks after the procedure. I learned that I got the call from the doctor himself, and he told me that it worked. I was pregnant. I was excited, a little bit anxious because, I wanted to make sure that I kept my practice of staying calm and trusting that things would keep unfolding well, which is what I hoped for, of course. And then several weeks after my first ultrasound, the technician said to me, "Did you know you have twins?"
You're like, oh my, what?
And I was so happy and so excited. But again, I was trying to, stay feeling good and maintain my practice of staying relaxed and trusting and feeling good. And just to fast forward to now, I'm happy and thankful and excited to say that I have I have healthy twin girls who are 9 months old now, and
which is amazing. And then, of course, women want to know. So, how old were you when you actually conceived them, and when I conceived them?
Yes, I was 40 years old when I conceived them, yes. Through an IUI procedure, and then I was 41 when I gave birth, and.
So important to say this because, of course, the very first focus for all women is like, oh my gosh, I'm getting old. And so surely I must need more technology. And you are a testament to, sometimes it's actually lower level of technology that can do the trick, right? So it doesn't have to be more IVFs. So, and like with twins at that, holy moly.
Right. And you know what? I mean, I know that the pressure with the age and the statistics starts, I remember being 29 years old and having or 28 even, or 27, having a doctor say, "Do you want kids?" And I said, yes. And he said, if you want kids, you better start soon. And I was thinking, oh my God, that sounds great, but it didn't feel like the right time.
Absolutely.
For me. Actually, no, it didn't sound great because it did not feel like the right time. So that was stressful. So all that to say, what I started to do, especially when I started the TTC, trying to conceive journey on my own, was I was practicing tuning out things that created stress or fear or anxiety. So anytime I heard a doctor or anyone mention statistics based on age and procedure, I would tune it out. I was aware of the concept, like of the general principles, but I chose to tune it out because if I kept focusing on that just scared me, and that would not allow me to stay relaxed, stay feeling good, and that would not help my process. 100%. So I tuned it out by replacing it with thoughts that felt good for me. So I remember being at an appointment with an RE, and he was going over the statistics and the age thing, and I tuned it out, and I remember, he said, "Are you following? Hello, are you listening?" And I said, "Oh, you know what?" I said, "You know what? I like to focus on things that make me feel good." And so anyway, but I.
So you gave him full disclosure. It's like, I'm not listening to you because you were saying negative things. You didn't say those words.
I said to him, I appreciate, the information, because I know that, I trust, I'm leaving the, I trusted him completely with the medical and the science part, and I felt comfortable with him. And I believe that doctors maybe, have to explain the statistics. Right. I think that might be part of their role on their end.
That's like a procedural thing, right? Like, I just have to tell you the stats.
Right. And I said, I appreciate, because of course I have to, make an informed decision, but I didn't dwell or focus on the numbers or the statistics for me, because what makes me feel good. So I would replace that. I would kind of, take that with a grain of salt and just realize, okay, they're quoting other people's stories or the stats. But I would tell myself that, what, my journey is my journey and it's unique. And what I believe is that anything I want is possible. And so I reminded myself that we're so, it's amazing that we live in a time now where so much is possible thanks to science and technology. And there are so many ways to create a family and to have a baby. And so I told myself, this is happening. Being a mom is so important to me, and this is happening for me. And I'm going to just take it one step at a time and keep checking in with myself to see how I want to move forward next. What felt right for me.
Thank you so much, because this is this is the biggest takeaway. What I hear is that because no matter what, there's naysayers, there's negativity, there's things, thoughts that may not be so helpful. And what you're doing and advising is just tune it out and focus on you, how to really listen to your body and what does self-care look like and what will make you feel good. And then so to add in, so next time when we hear from you next week, it's going to be one of the strategies that you use, which is laughter yoga. So we're super excited to have you back so that we can go through laughter yoga, where you will actually be guiding us. So this is going to be super awesome. And it's like a 5-minute, 6-minute thing. Okay. So thanks again, Lauren, for being here. And is there any last words, or are we complete? We're good. It's awesome.
We're good. I'm excited to share the laughter techniques, because laughter is so important. And I was incorporating, in addition to the relaxation and the focusing on things that made me feel good, I kept laughing through finding ways to laugh. And so I'm excited to share laughter yoga with you and everyone too. So thank you so much, Mary, for everything and for having me. And thank you, Dr. Tanya, as well.
Yeah, and we'll be happy to have you back next week. And it's going to be super awesome. We're super excited. And so check that out. And of course, check out all of our previous episodes, because certainly everything's related to anything about fertility. And it's resources that you can count on. Forget the Google vortex of despair, because I don't think a lot of that stuff is supportive. So you can find all the supportive things that you need here to provide you hope and positivity. Okay, thanks guys. Love you.